looking ahead to Sunday's semi-final in the Bute Energy Welsh Cup against TNS. Roped you three in because you three have semi-final experience with Wrexham. Looking back to that 2014-15 season, what do you remember of playing for Wrexham at the time?
I mean, very little. It was quite a while ago. I do remember the team though. Like, we had a good team actually that season, I think, and we were all sort of, I don't know, quite sort of like aggressive and got stuck into all our games that we played, and it's a really good season, very enjoyable.
And for you personally, we've got here October 12th, 2014. Young Becky Pritchard makes her full debut today for the Reds. What was that like at the time, playing for Wrexham as a youngster?
Mad, yeah. I think like back in those days as well, when you turned 16, you like went straight into a women's team. So that was like my first ever experience of playing in a women's team. So it was a big step, but like all the girls made it really easy for me to play in a women's team.
And what do you two remember of Becca making her debut and coming into the team at the time?
I just remember Bex being the little fast one on the wing. And we like, get the ball over there, get Bex to run after it.
I think that we already knew each other from the Welsh setup, so I think that helped for you coming into the team. But we had Bex on one wing, Ash Hayes on the other, both of them very, very quick, so we used to just get the ball down the wings and off they went.
And talking about being involved in a Welsh setup, seen tweets at the time of you playing for Wales, but also being named Denbighshire Young Inspiration.
Oh my God.
Tell us about that.
Oh my God, that was a long time ago. That came through a lot of volunteering when I was in school. Coaching, that's when I started my coaching journey as well for school, and that's how it all came about. And it's sort of where I found my passion for coaching, that's how it came. And yeah, I just started uni here, and then those Denbighshire Sports Awards happened in that October, so I had to go. We went over to Llangollen then for the Sports Awards. I won the award and then came back here to celebrate with my housemates. That picture always gets drawn out, and like that was in a lineup for a Wales game, I think, when the Umbro kit, grey tracksuit, and I was just stood there biting my lip with the headband. That was my look back then, but yeah, like always used to get pulled out. People used to use it all the time. What a picture. I don't think I've changed much either, really.
Thinking about Wrexham at the time, you said you played at the original Colliers Park at the time. What was that like?
It was like a mud bath, I think.
Very different.
Yeah, I think when we were there, it sort of been let go, because obviously the history of Colliers used to be one of the best around, like team. I think someone told me, I think it might have been my dad, told me Barcelona once came and trained there when they were over here to play Liverpool or someone. So by the time we were there, it sort of been let go a little bit. I remember every time you drove in, the potholes in the car park, you're trying to avoid the potholes. The 3G, sometimes played on the grass pitch, most of the time played on the 3G, but let's say it's not to the quality that Colliers is now, put it that way. Still like a good setup, like to have our own facility, but it's come a long way since then, as has everything else.
I was going to say about everything else, what was women's football like at the time?
I honestly, I don't remember much. I feel like we all just used to turn up for a laugh then. It was like, it was just like playing with all your mates. You'd train once a week. I think we trained here sometimes at the UK.
On the 3G pitch. Keeper training, no, not 3G, on the Astro. Keeper training on the Astro, not fun. No, not cool.
Or just any local pitch, I think. I think one week I sprained my ankle on some pitch, but it was like a sheep's field, wasn't it?
It was a close-knit team.
Yeah.
Like, we all got along really, really well. Like, because that year I was in uni here, so I was living here, and I remember sometimes we used to come back, even if it from a away trip down South Wales, come back on the Sunday, and we'd go out into town for a couple of drinks, and like that just wouldn't happen now, because like that's not the lifestyle that we have. But back then I was all for it because I was a uni student.
We always used to jump into cars to go down to Cardiff, down to Swansea.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like 10 hours plus every Sunday, with these people. So yeah, we were just good friends, just there having a laugh and pulling off results at the end of it.
I think that helped us do well, that we were quite a close-knit team, because it was really tough. Because like now we have bus to away game, we go the night before, but back then it was like getting in cars or a ricochet minibus that's not comfortable. So it's that team camaraderie that we had that helped us get through some of those tough days.
Yeah. I definitely went down to Cardiff at a different time, a different way every single time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I got lost so many times driving down there.
I didn't want to drive all the way down there back then.
I don't think I could even drive back then.
No, you probably couldn't.
Probably my car.
It's crazy.
How big a commitment was it to play women's football then? Obviously a lot of Premier teams, Wrexham themselves included, the year after, just couldn't cope with that constant travel and the financial cost of it.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a lot, even though compared to what we give now compared to then is you know, it's very different, but you know, trying to compete with teams then that have got the support, have got the facilities, you know, I think eventually it took its toll on us because we just didn't have that. You know, like I said before about training facilities, you know, we didn't really have that support. You know, we were, you know, the club was run by volunteers, I think. I could be wrong, I don't know. So, you know, we were dependent on their time, you know, to get to progress, and eventually I think the likes of Cardiff and Swansea, you know, we just couldn't compete against them, and I think, you know, we just struggled definitely towards the end.
So we've seen the pictures from that year. You had the red and black kit on, the anniversary kit at the time. But did you feel part of Wrexham Football Club?
No.
I've been quite open about this. Like, we wore the kit, we had the training kit, we had the kit on the game day, but that was it really. There was no acknowledgement how well we were doing or not on any social media or like local newspapers or anything. It was like we were our own separate club.
A lot of people ask me, what was it like to be back? And I'm like, I'm not back.
Yeah.
It's completely different now. I'm not returning to an old team. Not at all.
Thinking back to that semi-final in 2015, you've got the team in front of you. What do you remember of the players you played with?
A lot of experience, I think, in there.
Especially the centre-backs.
Alex and Jen, they were what you could call stalwarts of the team. Me being 17, 18 back then, having two very experienced centre-backs in front of me, I learned quite a lot off them. And to have that trust in them was really, really useful.
I'm there in centre mid, number 9. I think I need to ask Rosie for my number back.
Yeah.
I feel like I must have been a late sign-in, and that must have been the only number left, because there's no way anyone would ever give me number 9.
That's a good number.
I'm the left wingers though.
Yeah, cut in on the inside.
Yeah. I feel like we were more we were both like defensive centre mid.
Yeah, she was a 10.
More 10, yeah. Definitely too high up the pitch there.
Yeah, because Scouse our captain, she was very good at set plays and long range shots.
She's probably one of the best I've ever
Yeah.
She must have scored a free kick.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And technically her feet was so good as well.
She was so good.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think she was as good as she was.
No.
But like she was a really good captain, I thought.
Yeah.
And again, someone a little bit older than us as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with her.
No, you wouldn't want to mess with her, no. But I think that's right. That helped being in one of maybe the only North Wales or one of 2 North Walian teams in a predominantly South Wales league. We had to be tough to go down there, and Scouse or Lindsay, led by example, have been that tough, bringing us all along together.
And then number 7 was Amber, and I think she was played for Connors. We played against Connors Key last year.
Yeah, she just had an engine, just kept on running, didn't stop. She would literally run through a brick wall for the team.
I feel like she used to score a fair few goals as well.
Yeah, she like never give up sort of attitude. Kate,
I thought she was centre-back.
Well, yeah, so she started as a centre-back, but then she ended up at top because she was really quick and agile, and she was quite naturally a good finisher, and her boyfriend was my keeper coach, and they're married now.
Oh.
Yeah, they're married now. So Rich Ackley was my keeper coach back then. But yeah, and then Jess Lowry. So did you play with her in the Welsh system?
She used to probably get stuck in. I remember.
She was
she was really good. So she before Wrexham, she was at Stoke, so I used to play with her at Liverpool, so we used to play against each other, and then we were together in the Welsh system. I thought she was a really good player. She could probably still play now, but she doesn't play anymore, and it's a shame because I think she'd be really, really good.
Yeah.
I feel like she was the same age as me as well, Julia Morris.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was probably like 17 as well.
The fringe.
Yeah.
I thought there's a few of you that all went to uni the same year.
Yeah, we all went,
No, I think it's... I don't know how many people still actually play. There's just 3, maybe.
I think Emma
for Ellesmere Port.
Yeah.
So only 4 of us still play, I think.
Well, looking at the game itself, you said Lindsay, your captain, was great at set pieces, put you in front on 38 minutes, called a deserved lead at the time, and you led at half time. But how big an achievement was it at that point to be leading against a team like Cardiff in such a big game?
I don't think anyone expected us to be in a semi-final, but never mind, leading at any point. So, yeah, I remember it being a really tough game. I remember it was a hot day.
Yeah, it was
a big pitch in the middle of nowhere. And I think at the time, I don't think we felt it was much of an occasion. We were just there enjoying ourselves.
No pressure,
like the underdogs, come do your thing. I didn't actually realise until I read something the other day how close we were to winning that. I was it like last few minutes or so they got a goal, so and then it went into extra time then, and they obviously just showed their fitness levels and everything from there. But yeah, I mean, great occasion, definitely.
I mean, probably the crowd that day was all our parents, probably. That's it. Whereas this Sunday, for example, they're going to be a much bigger crowd, as there has been for all of our games this season. So I think that in itself shows the difference between that Wrexham generation to the Wrexham generation now. Yeah.
You mentioned about it being late on. Reading through the match report at the time, it seems to go Wrexham deserved to lead at half time, and then you said Cardiff's fitness came in. It's Morgan through the match report after that. That seems a familiar story to us watching the team now. What was that like at the time?
Incredible. Shot stopper as usual. I mean, I don't remember. I'm not going to pretend I did.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember everything.
You made a fair few important stops on that day. That's for sure.
I think that whole season I was busy, but not because the team in front that we weren't good enough and whatsoever. I just think the quality of the big teams in South Wales then was the divide was massive, whereas now it's not so. And I think that year for me was probably, personally as a goalkeeper, that was a really good year, because you want to be, the only way to improve, I think, is to be busy. You don't want to play for the best team in the league, for example, because you want to be in all the action. But I do look back on our time that year, because I was only there for 2 years at the time. I do look back quite fondly, because we did have really good memories. And I think because we were just there playing football, we didn't necessarily think about,
there was no pressure,
being part of the club as much. It wasn't a thing, so that was fine back then. But we just enjoyed playing, didn't we? So.
For you personally, Del, how important was that time at Wrexham to what came next in your career?
So after that I went to Everton in the 21s for a year, and like I just said, I think because I was so busy in my 2 years, it helped me, like Beck said at the start, as a youngster, 16, going into a senior game. I spent 2 years in the senior game before dropping back down to an age group, but over the border. I think it helped a lot, and it's probably one of the reasons how I managed to get that opportunity at Everton, even if that was just for a year. I remember leaving. I was really grateful for it. Really grateful, really appreciative of the experience I was given, the people that I played with, and I learned a lot off, because we had a lot of older players back then. Because I was a youngster, I learned quite a lot off them, and now it's the way around. I think we're one of the older ones now, aren't
A similar question for you, Bex. You said you went off to university the next year. How would you, in your words, describe your football journey since then?
I think really good. I think when I first signed for Wrexham, I came in as I just completely lost my confidence in football at all. And I think that season when I was at Wrexham, I really helped sort of build me back up and sort of progress my senior career. So yeah, I went to uni and signed for another senior club in Bristol, which I played for a few years before coming back to Wrexham. But I think that year was really big for me to just sort of really start loving football again and get my confidence back.
And Phoebe, you've probably had the biggest changes in life. You've got a daughter now. How would you describe your football journey since then?
Looking at this now, I think I'd done all my football up to this point, and I was just sort of, I wanted to enjoy it for a little bit. I didn't want a big commitment. I think I finished the season with Real. After then, that's where I think I played with TJ for a short while, potentially a couple of others that are in the team now. I then went on to Tranmere, potentially a year or so, and then I joined TNS. And I was there for a few years. I was captain there for a couple of years, and then I had my daughter. And then after that, I tried to get back into it, and then I'm at Wrexham now, probably more committed than ever and playing more football than ever. So fond memories, definitely.
That's a nice way to throw into the semi-final. You talk about playing for TNS, like different Wrexham, different TNS at the time as well. What does it mean to you playing against the current TNS, having been through that experience when you became WEM at the time?
It doesn't mean a great deal, to be honest. It's like I said with Wrexham, it's not the same team. I don't feel like I'm coming back to the same team, and when I go there, I don't feel like I'm playing the same team either, so I don't feel like I'm going back to my old club, nothing like that. I think they've clearly improved their setup and their support since, which is great for the girls that are playing there, and long may it continue. I hope it continues up north and we can have plenty of challenging derbies to come.
Starting obviously on Sunday, how are you all feeling ahead of that game?
Good.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I feel like we've been off the pitch for a bit. Yeah. Looking forward to it. New venue. I don't actually think I've played at Flint before, which is not. I think I go to every pitch and I'm like, been here once, but no, not been to Flint before. So I think I actually started at Flint like under 6s and under 7s way back in the day, and I don't even think we had games. So like, I just remember going to a tournament and they'd stick me in with like the older age group. It was there was no like
no structure.
8s, 9s, 10s. It was just make up the numbers type of thing and get in the teams. And I mean, that was a very long time ago. I think my mum was just hunting around for some team for me to join, really, just so I could burn some energy off.
I think Sunday's really exciting opportunity, but also not just as well as us qualifying for top 4 for phase 2, being in the semi-final of the Welsh Cup sort of sums up our journey this year. And then obviously we always seem to go across TNS in the Welsh Cup. So obviously last year we beat them, but then the year before we lost to them. So I think we've had good results this season against them. However, when it comes to a final or semi-final,
and they've always been close games as well. Even if they're always a really good chance.
I think it will come down to on the day who wants it the most. That's usually what happens in big games like that, rather than maybe form going into the game or previous results. So we know not to be complacent, and then we know they'll be up for it, but equally we've set our sights on silverware this year as a team, so this is our opportunity to do it.
You mentioned when you were last in the semi-final stage that at the time you were just playing football for fun. You didn't really feel the pressure. How different is it this year, and how much of the experience of games like playing Connors Quay here at the racecourse, the final against Newtown, the bigger games this season against your Swanseas, your Cardiffs as well, how much has that helped you in the head of a big game like a semi-final?
I think for me personally, it's definitely helped me. I don't think much will be as nerve-wracking as playing at the racecourse. I could cope with everything else. It wasn't too bad, but I think playing on our own turf, a stadium full of people wanting to watch us, it definitely gives you a grounding of how to manage your nerves and so on. So I'll definitely be taking that into semi-final and I think this season not much has fazed me as much as before, because you do get used to it, you know what to expect, you know. The things, it sounds mad, but things like not being able to hear your coaches or your teammates, that's not the norm in our game. That's new, but we're sort of getting used to that now, and we've got to adapt to it on the day. I don't know how many they're expecting there on Sunday, but you know, we are fortunate. We do get, you know, a lot of fans down to the Rock on a Sunday anyway, so hopefully they'll make the trip up to Flint and support us there as well.
I think because we're all at a point in our career where we're the more experienced in the team, throughout our individual journeys we've gone through a lot. We've played at, well, all of us have played at the highest level you can play at when we were at certain ages. So I think all that experience helps us and moulded us into the footballers that we are now. And then obviously everything last year, so like you said, the game at the racecourse, massive. Me personally, the most nerve-wracking game was the playoff final. That, because usually I'm quite chilled, I'm all right, I'm good. But that game, my heart was racing. Even in the warm-up and getting ready and coming down the steps, I was worrying about slipping, and because you have to walk down the steps in Newtown, don't you?
I don't even think it was like the amount of people up there, that was the occasion.
That was the occasion, that was massive.
Either, I know it sounds ridiculous, but win or lose, you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
And then it's 12 months again till you get the next shot, so you've got to make, you know, that one count.
I think that whole game, how that felt, the experience, what we had to do that day, how we did it, helped a lot of us, I think, prep for this year. And I think I'll be going into Sunday's game thinking, using sort of how I dealt with my own emotions that day to bring it into the semi-final. I think we can do that as experienced players, so we do have a lot of younger players as well, and maybe even new players that haven't been at Wrexham for long, or like had the same, been in this sort of occasion, so we can help support the team to get through if they are feeling it a little bit.
You've mentioned the big occasion and what was riding on that. Bex obviously scored the goal. It's probably no understatement to say one of the most important goals in North Welsh women's football, because of what it allowed Wrexham to do. In your words, we talk about all the time, we became semi-professional. What has that actually meant for you three individually?
I think for me personally, you know, it's more commitment. But I don't think I expected to enjoy it as much as I have. You know, we wouldn't be able to reach the standards that we have on a Sunday if we didn't have all the training, the coaching and the support. And, you know, the core of us are the same team from last season, and we're achieving what we're achieving this season, just with more support, more commitment, more facilities. So I just think it shows, you know, all that behind the scenes stuff, you know, the gap, you know, the jump that we've made from last season to this, even me personally as a player, you know, I think is massive. I'm having to be a lot more organised in my life, you know, make sure I've got my kit in my car going to work so that I can either go straight, or make sure I've got some food ready to eat so that, you know, I can train in the evening. Try to drink plenty of water, because I don't want to be doing testing on a Thursday evening and I'm, you know, starving and thirsty. So I think organisation, commitment, you know, and raising standards, that's definitely been the three for me. Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's added any extra pressure on us. I think we've all just rolled with it, gone with the flow. I think as well, I feel like we've deserved to be in this position, or like the performances last year, what we helped the team get to. But people do ask, like, how does it feel to be a semi-professional footballer? And to be honest, I forget sometimes that I am, because it is such a big part of our lives, but in the whole the whole stretcher thing, it's such a small part, because every day I'm still going to work. I've still got to plan out my week with work, and then with training and games. But I think, like you said, because it is more time where we are here, we have to be more committed, but it's been very easy to make that change. I think because we are passionate and we love playing for the club, and we're proud to have the badge on our chest, I think it's been easy for us to adapt.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think everything that's come with being a semi-professional footballer just sort of all like the strength and conditioning coaches, all the support from the club, I feel like it has made us better players this season. Like we're all a lot fitter, and we get all sort of the coaching to make us sort of play at the very best ability we can. And I think that's been really good because I feel like I'm probably sort of at like the prime of my career at the moment, and that's sort of really helped make me play well this season. I think as well, like I just feel proud to be a semi-professional footballer. Like when I was a kid, that's all I'd ever dreamed was being a footballer, and getting paid for it is just a privilege, and it's really enjoyable. And I think I'm probably enjoying my football the most I've ever done this season. That's just everything that's come with it, sort of all the coaching and everything.
I was going to say, thinking back to that teenage debutant we were talking about before, how much of a difference would it have made at the time had you had something like this to aspire to? Had you known what the pathway was like at the time?
Yeah, massively. I guess like back then there wasn't really anything to, unless you were going to make it the top few players in WSL, you were never going to get paid. So I think that would be something really big to aim for, and you'd obviously push really hard to get to that, but also something really achievable as well. And I think at that age, when I was like 16, it wasn't really anything that was that achievable. So I just wanted to be playing football for fun back then.
I'm the same. People ask me now, you know, is it your dream to be a professional footballer? And I'm like, no, because it wasn't. I don't feel like I was in academy setups and so on, and I don't recall ever having a moment where I was like, right, when I'm older, I want to be a professional footballer. Because I think for women and girls, I think back then it just, you know, it was always something you did on the side, and it always was going to be. But you know, I'm similar ages to like Nikita Paris, Alex Greenwood, and look what they've achieved. You know, you would never have thought that back then. You know, with you know what opportunities were out there, they were limited.
I think if we think back to this day, if you told the three of us that, what is it, 9-10 years later, we'd be sat here.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. Because like how the club was, how we were that then, what the club has turned the women's section into now, how it is, you never would have thought. And to be offered a semi-professional contract at the start of the season. I know I keep going on about our ages, I know we're not that old, but in football terms we are.
You saying you're old, I must be older.
Yeah, but like at 27 years old, I never would have thought, I thought getting paid to play was off the cards completely, and I think a lot of us felt that way. So yeah, we're really appreciative of it, obviously, but we also
deserved it.
Pardon?
You deserved it.
Yeah, yeah. But like we're just embracing it as well, and like like with anything, you don't know how long it's gonna last, so we're just gonna take it day by day, and like days like Sunday, we're just gonna go for it and aiming to get into the final, and then after that, we're gonna aim to win the Welsh Cup. So yeah, it's all really exciting. How, especially when you look back to that day to now, it's massive. It's really proud to be a part of it all.